Kia ora. Today I'm going to be talking about ILEs. I've just been watching Laura's video or YouTube video, and I have made a mind map, so that's what I'm looking at on my computer here. But I looked at her 4 benefits of ILEs, which is inclusive teaching, giving the children agency over their learning, being collaborative, and that it's future focused. I then came across a YouTube video from Tamati Intermediate in Napier, and it interviewed children who worked in an ILE, and I wrote down all the things that, it's a bit messy, but I had crossed it out as I put it on my mind map, but I wrote down all the things that the children said they liked about what an ILE was in their school and what they liked about it, and then linked it to Laura's 4 benefits. So when we're talking about inclusive teaching, the children talked about that that their teachers always gather their student voice, which they liked. They talked about that they have the freedom to learn how is best for them. They talked about that the learning is tailored and that the teachers will also make slideshows for their tailor slideshows specifically for each child. They talked about it being culturally responsive. Then we have learner agency. They talked about that they can think critically, that they're allowed to be curious and about new learning and about the world around them. They talked about that they can collaborate with others or they can work independently. It's up to them depending on what tasks they're doing and how they feel. They talked about that it gives them the ability to have a growth mindset and how being in the pit is a good thing. Laura then talked about collaboration, and the kids had a lot to say on that. They said they enjoyed collaborating with others, that they felt like they were in a community, that they had connected spaces, that because there was more children, that equaled more friends, which meant that equaled more collaboration with different types of people. They talked about kids teaching other children. So they had, which they liked, they had experts, and then they had children who were set up to help others who needed support, like on a laptop, and they would work with them. They also had their own like mass focus groups. They talked about in time, like when you need it, other kids coming and helping them do little workshops. They loved connecting with other children from around the world, so they had quite a lot of opportunity to connect with others online, other children. And they got to share their successes weekly with their class, which they love doing. Laura talked also about it being an ILE being future focused, and the kids talked about how they were allowed to explore their creativity and that they were working with rocket scientists and building their own rockets, which they loved. They also talked about, actually I didn't write it down, did I write it? Oh yeah, so learning something and then creating something, so that was involved, that was talking about the rockets. They talked about that each child has a device, so 1-to-1 devices, and that they loved that they could follow their wanderings. So yeah, I jotted that down, and that'll be in my portfolio. So yeah, portfolio. But yeah, I made a mind map. But I personally enjoy ILEs. I worked in an ILE for more than 4 years at my last job at Mount Roskill Primary. Well, it was with one other teacher. But what I found really interesting is actually on Laura's slideshow. It says here, buildings alone are not enough. It is about the relationships and changing cultures and practices. And that really stuck with me, because for me, the one reason why I really enjoyed the ILE that I worked in and why it actually worked really well was because of the relationships that I had with the other teacher. I guess it wasn't like a traditional, there was only 2 of us, but it was 2 classrooms that had a door, so we kept it open in new entrant year 1. So a lot of that was, the reason I liked it also is because we were play-based, so we could have such a big space with so many different things for the children to learn with, and also like a full outdoor space as well. But it wouldn't have been able to be successful if we didn't have a good relationship, and that comes down to communication, which I found quite interesting actually. Now I'm thinking aloud. when I was looking at the 4 points that Laura talked about and then that the children talked about at the intermediate, collaboration actually has the most kind of points around it, as in like things that the kids talked about, which I found really interesting, which for me is the same as well. Like having that ability to collaborate even with other teachers, having the opportunity to like plan together and also to share ideas, like more times than not, we came up with such better ideas when both of us were collaborating, and then it was better for the kids. I'm just looking, yeah. I think also even for me, like sharing successes, having that person that you can talk to straight away and like share your success with them and say, oh my gosh, this person just did this or this person just did that. I personally really, really enjoyed it, and just having that other support system was really helpful. Yeah, I think though there can be some challenges to that, and I have seen some children in my casework where it's quite a big space. There's 3 classes, and I had 3 classes in one ILE, and I had 3 cases in that class. They had 1 breakout space, but yeah, that probably wasn't enough because my 3 children all needed more of a quiet space to work, and so they couldn't always be in that space together. So we did find that sometimes it was a bit loud for the children that I was working with, but yeah, there's ways around that, creating spaces for them and things like that, and giving them that flexibility. I mean, if you give them that flexibility to go outside or be able to learn where they want to learn, then that's all that's what the ILE is about. But yeah, it just had me thinking, because some people do really have a different opinion on ILEs, but I personally really like them, and I liked what Laura had to say, and it was really cool to hear some student voice from the kids at intermediate. So yeah.